I'm here at Magfest with game development project manager Rachael R. Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you.
I'd like to start by asking about the game that you have presented here at Magfest. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. So we're presenting Akari. It's a anime-based game that's a platformer. And we've been working on it for a year and a half. We hope to have it done by the end of the year. The basic concept is that you're playing as the main character, Akari, and she's trying to save her sister from the underworld. Her sister got kind of drug under, and so you're collecting your sister's memories and recollecting memories of her.
Huh. So it's sort of a fantasy horror kind of game?
More fantasy, yeah.
Okay. But when you say underworld, I think, the things I think of. So, okay, so fantasy setting. Have you been a project manager for other games?
Yes, I have. So I've been working with my director since our freshman year of high school. We've known each other a very long time. And now we're in college and grown up and stuff. So we've worked on 3 different games together, one of which is published now. And I worked with him on that. It's called Ice Hops.
How do you know when a game is finished?
So we come up with a timeline and storyboard, and once we complete that storyboard, if there's anything that feels left out or missing, especially when we bring it to convention, if people say, hey, this doesn't make sense, and you need to clarify the storyline here and there and everywhere to make it make more sense, that's how we know when it's done.
All right. What inspires you?
Ooh, good question. I think a lot of the people here inspire us, especially myself. We see a lot of people that really appreciate the art and the game itself and really get a lot out of it. And so that's really inspiring to know that I'm making a difference, even if it's a small difference in somebody else's life.
Right. What is your most important program management tool, or how do you go about your work? What do you need, and is there something special you need, maybe to you?
So I personally am super simple. I use just Google Excel, like the Google Sheets, and we actually in high school learned how to make a timeline. We took some engineering classes and stuff like that, so I figured out how to kind of make a schedule in colors and dates and stuff like that, and so it's super simple but also really readable. It's called a Gantt chart if you are ever interested in that, but so we don't ever go into big fancy stuff. I think the easier stuff is just as good.
All right. Is there an element of program management for game development that you enjoy working with most, and why?
I really like working with people and explaining to people the deadlines. Because I'm so organized, I've become organized over the years. I really enjoy helping other people become organized and kind of make things to a deadline. I think it makes people more productive. It makes learning that skill is really useful as far as the work world and beyond.
I'm sorry if you mentioned it already, but so what did you study it specifically in school?
So, kind of, sort of. I took a really specific class in high school. It was really a great class called Independent Research. And essentially I did a college-level dissertation, 8-page synthesis paper, like all the organization to that in my sophomore year of high school, as well as some engineering classes on the top of that really helped me get really organized. So that's kind of where that ties in. And then I took a job right now working as a customer relations specialist, and part of our job is to schedule things and make sure people get things done at the time that we want them to. So that kind of all ties in.
So it's so I guess it's your professional career, and is there a passion to it for game development?
To some extent. I personally am not as interested in pursuing game development in the future. It is super fun as an extracurricular hobby and stuff, but as of now I'm applying to a bunch of places for guest relations stuff and customer relations specialists and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're dabbling in helping
exactly.
With this. Oh, interesting. So as I said to you earlier, off tape, I noticed there aren't a lot of female game developers or people involved in the business here. First, is that assumption correct? And secondly, do you see what challenges have you had to deal with? in that regard, if it's true.
That's extremely true. Ever since I was tiny little kid, my dad is a computer programmer. Actually, he's a computer engineer, if I want to be technical about it. But ever since I was like smaller than small, he was like, there's no women in this field, you have to go into this field, and you're going to be great and amazing and wonderful. And so through that, I've taken a lot of engineering classes, and I really do enjoy it. It's just not something that I want to pursue as a career. But as far as challenges I faced, not anything specific in the game development world. It's just a matter of finding the passion for it. So.
Do you feel that, because I don't think anyone would, say, I don't want to work with a woman or something, but do you feel like since there aren't as many women in the field, do you feel any challenges as far as connecting with other people? Would it be helpful to have more women working with you to keep you more inspired? Or
maybe to some extent. However, I have learned to become very vocal, and as part of my job, as my real job, not as a game developer, I have to call people, and I basically telemarket, essentially. So I call people and I say, hey, this is what we sell and this is why we do it. So through that, I've become very vocal with people, and I don't have a problem communicating and working with other people, gender, race, anything of the sort.
Okay. So you don't see any... Okay, that's cool. That's good to hear. I just want to explore that and hear about it. Because one of my focuses is trying to get more kids into engineering through sci-fi, and especially, there's not a lot of girls or women working in it for whatever reason. So.
In fact, I'd say there's more of an initiative to get women into engineering. As much as I don't want to go into engineering, so many colleges will give me full ride scholarships just because they want me to go into engineering, and it just sucks because that's not what I want to do. But,
and your dad's like, come on, you can do it. Okay. But it sounds like it's still kind of part of your life. Program management is detail oriented.
Exactly.
So it's still there to some extent. How did your first success in your field, however you might define that success, I guess tell me what that is, and how did that change your process of going about that work, if it did?
I think my first success was... I've been so successful in my life, I can't really pick one.
Okay, good.
Which is a really good thing to say.
Yeah.
I think just succeeding in all of my classes has really been awesome. As far as I took a class a couple semesters ago that without it, I wouldn't be where I am, emotionally, physically, in my job. It's amazing. I took a cultural anthropology class, 3-4 semesters ago, and the professor of that course is now my manager and also one of my best friends. And that's where I've learned most of my organizational skills, is through that job. And I've gotten so many contacts through that job as well, because we do corporate team building. We corporate team build for huge companies at M&T Bank. We do all sorts of things, from small businesses to large businesses. So that's really been probably one of my biggest successes, totally by accident too. So.
Interesting. Okay. What role do games have in society?
I think games serve a multi-purpose. So we were actually just talking, a couple hours ago about how games and education play into each other, and how bringing games into the educational world is really a good teaching tool. As well as they can be used, depending on the game, it can be used as almost a stress relief for just entertainment and fun. So they stretch the gambit as far as what games can be and what they are.
So what movies, books, games, or other creative media in science fiction or fantasy have inspired you?
Oh my gosh, I am the biggest nerd. I used to watch Doctor Who with my dad a lot. And Star Trek and everything. Just we used to watch Doctor Who together all the time, so that definitely got me into the sci-fi world.
So are you talking about just the new Doctor Who or the old stuff too?
So I was gonna watch the old stuff, and then it went off Netflix, and so I just haven't gotten to it yet. But definitely, I've seen all of the new stuff. So.
Okay, all right. So Doctor Who is the big thing, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Is there? Well, you said you're just in this temporarily. I was going to ask, is there a game, or let's say, is there a project that you want to accomplish that you haven't done so yet, and what is it?
I'm really looking forward to actually finishing Akari. It's a really cool game, and it has some decision-based elements to it, where if you choose an element, it'll change the game entirely. So your actions really matter, and that is really interesting to me. Even as a project manager, seeing that develop and seeing the different aspects come out of that and storyboarded, it's really interesting. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
How about big plans for the future? What do you see as sort of the thing you want to accomplish beyond, 10, 20 years out?
I'm really looking forward to college. Right now I'm in community college, so short term I'm getting my associates in the spring, which is super exciting, which means a lot of graduation money, which would be super awesome. But I'm really looking forward to a 4-year degree, possibly I'm applying to a bunch of better jobs right now, so hopefully that'll bring nice money and whatnot. But yeah, hoping to move out of my parents' house soon, which would be nice.
All right. So you have your short-term goals right now, and then the long-term ones will come.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you.
Please visit chrisalvarez.com for more cool stuff. You can also find my website and social media information in the podcast show notes. Thanks for listening, and keep imagining the future.